Hey everybody, welcome to Round the Twist, episode 267. It's September 28th, 2016. Any spare background noise is hubby playing Witcher 3 over here, so if you hear anything, that's what's going on in the background. We should not be interrupted by a teeny co-host this week because they need their naps, they need to stay in the room, so I have baby gates across the doors. That it sounds like they're definitely not doing their naps, if you heard that thump. Someone, I think, just launched themselves off their bed, I'd say. So, here we go. Coffee, please. For anyone wondering, the mouse is no longer in the window well. I don't know what happened to him, but he's no longer there. I did not put a trap down there. I did not put a stick down there. I'm going to say he climbed his own way up, but it's also possible that one of the snakes in our backyard went down there and ate him. So, he's off scampering away in his little mousy habitat wherever he's at. He's not in my window well, so he won't be jumping against the window today. Yay. So, right into the knitting. First things first, what's on my needles is the I'm a Rockstar socks. This is a 72 stitch vanilla sock with a heel flap. The yarn is a sock blank from Gail's Art called Rockstar Rainbow, which I'll show you the tag in a second here. First sock is done, finished, ready to go. There's all the pertinent information for you. It's a 75-25 superwash merino nylon blend. I'm loving this. Here's what I have left of the blank. It's getting a lot smaller, like smaller faster, feels like, but yay, means the socks are getting done. So this is what I have left. This is what I've got so far. I spent an insane amount of time on the phone this week. We had a little... I can't remember. Did I tell you that we were getting a new refrigerator? I might have. Well, there was a bit of a snafu with the refrigerator that accounted for most of the knitting on this sock. It was supposed to be delivered Saturday. Somehow, because we bought an open box, what Best Buy calls open box, scratch and dent, clearance, whatever you want to call it, refrigerator. It was shipped from the store that's like a 20-minute drive from our house all the way down to the shipping depot warehouse thing in Denver to be put on a truck just to bring it back to our area. It was supposed to be delivered Saturday. Truck shows up, guy comes in, unhooks our old refrigerator, goes back out to get the new one. New one's not on the truck. It was on his list of deliveries. It was not loaded onto his truck. So it disappeared somewhere into the depths of this warehouse. So while I was on the phone with Best Buy Geek Squad customer support for about a total of, I don't even want to know, I'm going to say close to 2 hours at various times, I got a lot of knitting done on this sock while I was on hold, and they were trying to track down our refrigerator because since it was an open box, they couldn't just give us a new one since we bought a specific one. It's not like when you go onto into a furniture store and say, I want that one. You're not buying that specific one. Or if you went to Lowe's or Home Depot or something, when you point at one that's a display model on the floor, you're not actually getting the display one, you're getting one that's usually at the warehouse, and they just send it to you. Well, it wouldn't work that way. So, good news. They found the refrigerator as of yesterday, after 4 days of it being missing, and it was delivered this morning. I have a brand spanking new refrigerator upstairs. It's gorgeous, very exciting. But I was about, there, on the ribbing, and I made it all the way, probably good, let's see, about 3.5 inches worth of cuff plus a bit of ribbing, so I'm going to say 4 inches worth of sock. Just from being on hold. It's always good to have a knitting project nearby. So, knitting it up on a US 1 2.25 millimeter needle, and yeah. I'm kind of glad I had some hold time to get something done. So, the stress of my week so far. Trying to track down a new refrigerator. Yeah, so stressful. First world problems, right? Second thing, and this is probably what I should have had, but I didn't have the concentration power. The for Megan, the hashtag for Megan KAL This is for Megan of the Cyborgs Craft Room, who passed away very suddenly a month ago now, a few weeks ago at least. Birdleg Bags, the woman behind Birdleg Bags. I'm drawing a blank on her name right now. She started a knit along, craft along. If you'd like to join to kind of reflect on Megan's color sense and how wonderful her yarns were, you're free to join us. The hashtag is hashtag #4FOR Megan, MAEGANKAL, and put that up on Instagram, on Facebook, on wherever. We're using Cyborg's Craft Room yarn. I'm using the Asocolate base in the colorway Ain't No Party Like a Cyborg Party. And I'm doing the Trillion, which is one of Martina Bem's tributes to Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. So there's the yarn. It looks kind of like funfetti cake. I love it. And here's how it's knitting up. This little sad little thing. It's one of the elongated triangles, so it's just, the rows just get longer. How many did I manage to knit this week? Looks like 4. This is why I put the my little dangly progress marker, and it's right there, and I've got 2 garter ridges on there, so yeah, 4 rows. Sad. So sad. But progress marker moved up, so we'll see how much I can get done this coming week. And yeah, not a whole lot going on. The pattern calls for a US 2, which is a 2.75. Yes, I'm using a US 3, a 3.25 millimeter needle, and I'm kind of glad I didn't go down to a 2, because this is making a pretty dense, squishy garter stitch, but I'm liking it so far. Just need to keep going on it and hopefully try to use up every last speck of this that I can. So yeah, that's the plan anyway. So not a whole lot of progress on that, but so that had been my video gaming knitting for while hubby's working on his stuff, but instead I moved my big reusable shopping bag thing that I've got with the yarn down here for my Disappointing Stripes sweater. This is actually the Playful Stripes cardigan by Alana Dakos. I'm knitting this up for Tara, and I'm using this 9-month size for numbers since I'm knitting it in a worsted and not a sport weight like the pattern calls for. So with my gauge, I'm knitting the 9-month, which, judging by this, should be plenty big around, and I should have a good 2 to 3 inches of ease with that. Oh yeah, that'll be plenty. And the body, this is actually done. This is everything up to the armholes. So I'm all over the place today. I'm sorry, everybody. The yarn is Lisa Souza's Blueface Leicester Worsted. This is going to be this is the Joseph's Coat label, so that's going to be the yoke color. If you're actually knitting the Playful Stripes cardigan according to pattern, you obviously have the main color, and I think it's 4 different contrast colors, so when you get to the yoke, you're using this kind of random-ish striping pattern. Well, then you have all these ends, or there's a lot of roping carrying up on the inside, and it gets quite bulky. So instead of doing that, I picked, I can show you, this loveliness in the hank. Turns into this when you wind it up into a ball. So this is the Joseph's Coat. This is going to be the yoke of the sweater and the little contrast bands around the wrists and the bottom. So I've got that first one done down here. The little holes you can see at the bottom, that's actually going to be turned and tacked up to make a picot hem. And I've knit the whole body. I'm actually taking the measurements from, I think it's the size 6 sweater. So even though I'm using the 9-month numbers for circumference, I'm using the length in the 6-year size, and using a US 7 for this worsted weight, which is a 4.5 millimeter needle, and a US 6 for the smaller needle size, which is a 4.0 millimeter needle. It's coming out okay. So I was maybe 2 inches past this the contrasty garter ridge, it was about there. I decided to take the body up to 10 inches, even though the pattern calls for 9, because my kids are long. They're long, they're tall, and I want her to be able to wear this for a couple of winters, even though she squeezes into stuff that is way too small for her, because she loves her sweaters. So, trying to make it fit for a little bit longer, but I'm ready to stop right now. I'm going to take the needles off the ends and put stoppers on and start doing the sleeves. So, it's knitting up really fast. I knit 8 inches. 8 inches on this thing in a week. So we all know where my knitting time went to the sock and to this. And now I'll probably completely lose my mojo to work on that sweater, but that's okay. It'll get done eventually and she'll wear it, right? Of course she will. So far the knitting's going great. That's not the disappointing part. The disappointing part I've talked about before. Please watch older episodes. I don't really want to beat a dead horse about this. So yeah, if you're not caught up, just go back like a few weeks and you'll be able to get the full gist. So that's everything on my needles. Moving on to pokey things. I've done no sewing, so Tara's dresses aren't any further along. I did do a little bit of stitching, so let me get this out. Move things out of the way. So last week, this is the Once Upon a Time sampler from Frosted Pumpkin Stitchery. I had finished the border, the final bit of border around the final square. I did manage to start on the white this month. Obviously, it's December. There's a lot of snow. There's a lot of white. The fairy tale, fable, whatever you want to call it, for December is Hansel and Gretel. So I've got, obviously there's snow, little snow along the top, snow on the top, what's going to be the tops of some trees here, and then this over here is the beginnings of the icing on the gingerbread house. So, icing / snow on the gingerbread house. So, that's it. It's a lot of white. There's a lot of white. So I've already got my needle threaded, as you can see, hanging from my little stitch minder, or needle minder, and I've got more white hanging out down at the bottom because I get the feeling I'm going to need it. So, there you have it. That's all my pokey things. I've got a couple questions out of various and sundry, which I have to pull up on the computer, so pardon me, I'm going to slide you guys over a little so I can see. S-L-R-A-K-O-W, Slorako, however you pronounce your name. It is actually, actual name is, come on, hover, Sharon. Hi, Sharon. Says, hi Karen, I'm getting ready to decide on my first wheel. Yay! I just tried a Lendrum and I kind of loved it, and I'm testing a sidekick during Spinzilla. I think I may have made contact with a Spinolutions dealer who has a Mach 3 and an Echo for me to try. I know you have a Lendrum and a Bee. Can you hit on a few of the highs and lows of your wheels? One lady recently told me that the back maiden on the Lendrum slipped off the bobbin easily if bumped. Do you find this to be the case? I understand time is limited, so any info is appreciated. So, Sharon, that's great that you've sought out different types of wheels to try. Excuse me. What I can tell you, I really love all the ratios that Spinolutions offers you with very little changing out, like not having to change out the flyer or change out the maiden. You just move where all the different bands are, is what I love about my Bee. The Lendrum, that was my first wheel. I loved the simplicity of it. Yes, if you want, you have to get a fast flyer if you want to spin finer yarn. There we go. Wow. Or if you want to spin bulkier yarn alternately, you'd have to get a bulky flyer. I also bought a woolly winder for that, so I mainly see my Lendrum as my plying wheel because I don't have to stop and move hooks or move a slider. But that was an extra expense, some separate thing. As to the back of the maiden falling off if it's bumped, at the bottom, actually, hang on, I'll be right back. Let me go grab mine. Hopefully you'll be able to see this because this is going to be kind of awkward. So the part she's talking about, everybody, this is if you're looking at the front. The part I believe your friend is talking about, ooh, that came interesting, is this bit right here. This is how the bobbins come on and off, is this folds down, you slide a bobbin on, it goes back up. Little tip for your friend who says that the back main on the bobbins on the back of the maiden slipped off very easily. There is a nut on this side. If you turn it around, there's a screw on this side. A screwdriver and a pair of pliers tighten that sucker up so that when it is on, if you can align it, it is on, you can still move it, but it stays where it's supposed to. So when you're spinning, or you bump it, or your kid bumps it, your dog bumps it, it should not just fly open. That means this is not tightened up enough. If she tightens that up just a little bit, it will help so much. Mine used to be loose. I tightened it up once, and that's it. So, little tip for your friend if she's having problems, or friend, lady, this person that you know. So I did at one point, it loosened up quite a bit after I got it, tightened it up years ago, haven't had an issue with it since. Stop snoozing me, please, Daisy. You want to come up? Come on. Come on, Munchkin. Come say hi. Fuzzy. Ready? 1, 2, 3. Okay. I have a fuzzy co-host this week instead of a small, cute one. Because you are very fuzzy. So, Sharon, I hope that answers your question very, very briefly. Just keep trying wheels until you find one you like, okay? And then, Esalaza, Erica, that's better. Do you count sock yarn as stash? And is there a specific yarn, brand, weight, fiber content, etc., that you always try to have in your yarn stash just in case? If I didn't count sock yarn as stash, my stash would decrease by at least a quarter, if not more, in terms of space, because it takes up one whole cabinet. I've shown you guys. It's ridiculous. Okay, go Daisy, you're in the way. So, personally, I found when I first started knitting socks and everyone, hey, sock yarn doesn't count as stash, I was buying a lot of sock yarn and it quickly spiraled out of control. Anything that's yarn that goes in that room is stash. It's the way it is. So, for me, does it count? Yes. And is there a specific yarn, brand, weight, fiber content, etc. you always try to have in your stash just in case? I pulled out a little sampling, like 4 skeins of what I have, so that, like, the basics that are always good to have. First one, you want a good workhorse yarn. So what I consider workhorse yarns, Opal, I'm drawing a blank. There's like 4 of them. All of the good German ones. Why am I having such a hard time with this? Oh my gosh. I just looked at them all. Trekking, that's another one. These are all wonderful because, number one, it's a lot of yardage. It's 425 meters. A lot of them have a striping. This is from Opal's Rainforest. I think it's their 3rd Rainforest, the toucan one, which I'm not even sure if they make the Rainforest ones anymore. I've had this in my stash for years. But I like to have the good workhorse yarns. These are for people that you know aren't going to hand wash stuff. There's no way. And I don't hand wash socks. So aside from the very first bath right after I finish knitting them, my socks don't get hand washed. But if you know someone who's going to throw their socks in the washer and the dryer and not even pull them out to hang up, this is the way to go. Because it's a hard-wearing, machine-washable yarn. It's a 75-25 superwash wool and, well, they call it polyamide, but nylon blend. You want a higher nylon content because it will help their socks wear like iron. So a good workhorse yarn is always good to have in your stash. Even if you're going to go for hand dyed, like Into the World, this is their bigger on the inside colorway. it's good to have what is theirs? Theirs is an 80/20. I do like to have superwash wool because I'm sorry, if I'm wearing these things on my stinky feet, they're going in the washing machine. I don't care. I've got toddlers. I don't have time to hand wash every pair of socks every week. And while I have enough that I could probably wear a pair of socks a day for a month and still not be out, I don't care. They're going in the washing machine. I wear these to work. You don't want to know what gets on my shoes and potentially on my socks at work. So, very important. Machine washable. Other one. Self-striping, and this falls into another category as well. Self-striping is wonderful to have. Fiber Nymph Dye Works, she does a great job. But any of the self-stripers, Mustache Yarns, again, drawing a blank. Anything self-striping I've found to be good because you can always do a pair of vanilla socks. Always. You can't find a pattern, you're on a road trip, before you go, wind up. You want to have a spare project in case you finish everything else, wind up a ball of self-striping yarn, or grab a ball of self-striping yarn and appropriate size needles, and you are set. All you have to do is maybe using your phone look up how to turn your heel. So, and this also covers, have something a little bit luxurious just for you. I happen to get Lisa's Heavenly Base, which is 80-10-10 merino cashmere and nylon, and this is the soft kitty colorway. And yeah, no one's getting socks from these but me, because there's like 2 people in my life that deserve cashmere besides me. But these are for me. The other one, I'd say find a yarn dyer that you love their colors. So this breaks one of my other rules, the whole have nylon in your yarn, but you guys know my love affair with Socks That Rock. I love Lisa's color sense. This is actually, this particular colorway, Fire on the Mountain, this is actually the second skein of this. I knit a pair of socks years ago. I mean, look at that. Look at that teal, that right there. And the burgundy, or the fuchsia up here. Oh. I knit a pair of socks out of this, some Dublin Bay socks, years ago. I think they were like my second or third pair of socks. This is like way before Ravelry, so it's not even on my Ravelry project page. Wore through them. They died, sadly, years ago. So what did I do? I went on her website, I bought the same color again so I could knit another pair of socks out of this gorgeousness for me. Had they faded? Yes, they had. Is this a merino nylon blend? No, it is not. This is 100% superwash merino, but I love Socks That Rock. I love the twist on the yarn and the bounce and the cushiness of it. So I will continue to knit with Socks That Rock, and I have plenty of it. I don't need to enhance that stash for a very long time. So, colors you love, workhorse yarn, something a little luxurious, and something with nylon in it, just for wear and tear. There's my advice for you. That's what I like to have in my sock stash, and pretty much everything in there, aside from what I've received as gifts, all falls into that category. I do have a few skeins that don't, and some things that I would like to get rid of, but I'll be doing a purge here at some point. Again, it's been a few years since I did that, and I probably should go through again. Weed out the things that I don't love anymore, and make sure to send them on to a good home where they will be loved and appreciated. So, yeah, that's really it. So, Sharon and Erica, I hope that answered your questions. Please, everyone, if you have any questions for me, please feel free to chime in on the Any Questions thread. One more little note of housekeeping. We are going to be traveling next week back for a family wedding. I think, I'm debating right now, if I have space, I will pack the camera. We will record. It won't be posted at the usual time. It will be posted after we get home. So please don't expect a show posted next Wednesday night, Thursday, Friday-ish, the usual time frame. It will be later than that, and then I will record again the following week. So in 2 weeks' time, at the regular time on a Wednesday. So until I see you all again, happy knitting.